so let's start off with a little bit of history behind the Game Gear. So first of all, it was produced by Sega. It was a 4th generation console. It was released in Japan on October 6 of 1990 and in North America on April of 1991. The starting price in the United States was $149.99. It sold 10.62 million units before it was discontinued in April 30th of 1997. Okay, so let's do a quick look at some of the aesthetics of the console. So first of all, as you can see, it is all black. Very basic in that sense. You can see the Game Gear logo up here in the top left. We've got the red, the green, and the blue with the Game Gear. That is a power indicator switch, which turns red when the system is on. This is the D-pad, which is not super great. It's okay, but it's not super responsive. This is the speaker. You have a very small one-piece speaker down here on the left. You have a full-color LCD screen. Here we have the Sega logo. It says, I don't know if you guys can read that, Sega Portable Video Game System. And then over here on the right side, we've got the start button, which interestingly enough is a different shade of blue than everything else. And then we've got a 1 and a 2 button. This setup actually mocks the setup of the Sega Master System, which was an 8-bit console that came out before this system. So this was an 8-bit handheld system. So the Sega Master System controller was actually the muse that was used as the design for this, which I will show you guys a quick little synopsis of in a little bit to show you where it kind of got some of the ideas for how to set this thing up. But so anyway, so on the top of the console, this orange button right here, lots of random colors, is the off and on switch. Very simple. This is a DC power input, where if you had a sold separately DC power, you could bypass having to use batteries. Then right here is where you would insert your cartridge. It used pretty decent sized cartridges. They're about the same width as a Game Boy Advance cartridge, but they're about the same height as a Game Boy Color cartridge. So they're a little bit different. They look a lot like Game Boy, like bulky Game Boy Color cartridges. So then on the back here, we've got, you can see the little arrow there. It says cartridge. You've got the information there about it listed. Things about the Sega. It is the, let's see, this is the Game Gear model 2110. Rating 9-volt, 3-watt, AA battery, LR times 6. So that's the next part of this process. Is you might be asking, well, how do you power this thing? And anybody who's never owned one of these will realize the unfortunate aspect of owning one is the requirements for the power. It has not 1, but 2 compartments for a set of 3 AA batteries that it takes to power this thing. So after all that, you may be asking yourself, are there any alternatives to using batteries? And the answer is yes. So first of all, the reason why batteries suck in the system is because, first of all, it takes 6 AA batteries, which is pretty expensive. I mean, a 4-pack nowadays of AA batteries is going to cost you at least $5. So to get a pack big enough, you're probably going to spend an extra $8 to $10 just in batteries alone. And they don't last very long. This system's fairly high power, so it requires a lot of energy, and it uses energy quickly, so it's been rated anywhere from 3 to 5 hours worth of gameplay off of a set of batteries, which is pretty small considering the cost. I mean, you're talking about $10 for every 3 to 5 hours that you play this system, which is kind of a lot. So you may ask, what are the other options? Well, there are other options. So one of the options was that you could purchase a separate AC adapter to go with the Game Gear. Now, this one is not the official one put out by Sega for the Game Gear, but luckily enough, and this was something I was ecstatic to find out, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the Sega Model 2 Genesis power adapter, which I just happen to have an extra of laying around, actually works to power this system. So it's pretty simple. And if you don't know what that is, it's the one with the yellow tip. So, and the model number is the MK2103. This is the exact same thing that can be used to power the Game Gear. And it works great, and I love to use this. The only negative to this is that this was designed as a portable console, and with this adapter, you're now kind of tied down, which kind of defeats the purpose. The other option, and in my opinion, probably the best option of the group, would be to purchase the Game Gear Powerback. The Powerback was an external battery that you would attach, you would affix to the Game Gear, and it would allow you to have several hours of gameplay, which was a rechargeable battery. So after those several hours, you just plug it up and recharge it, and you wouldn't have to spend all that money on buying, freaking 6 AA batteries and then having to throw them away every few hours. So if you were a hardcore gamer and you were playing for 6 hours, you were playing 6-8 hours a day, you're talking about $20-$30 worth of batteries a day that you're going through just to play the system, which is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, so you could purchase the Powerback, which looks like this. This is the Powerback. It's kind of ugly, not much to it. Basically, it's just got a little screw here and a little switch on the bottom, which if it's on quick mode, it is for charging only. If it's on normal mode, it will let you play it while it's charging. So you would just affix this to the back of it using this screw piece here and plug it into the top and flip it on, and it would play. And this is my favorite way to use it because I can leave it plugged into the wall when I play, and then I don't have to worry about the battery in this thing, but at the same time, it also allows me to be able to be portable if I would like. Okay, and as promised, here's just a quick comparison of the Sega Master System controller, which as you can see has this kind of weird floppy D-pad, and the 1 and 2 button. It's even labeled 1 and 2 instead of A and B, sort of like on the Nintendo controllers. We can compare that to the style of the D-pad on the Game Gear, as well as the 1 and 2 button here. So you can see that the two are very comparable in the way that they're designed, and it's actually believed that the Game Gear was actually designed after the Sega Master System controller, and that's why the Game Gear looks the way it does. Alright, so I'm certainly not the end-all be-all Game Gear collector, so I don't own a huge lot of Game Gear games. I think I've only got like 11 or 12 total, but what I'll do is I'm going to go through a couple of my favorites that I have in my collection just to kind of show off what the Game Gear had, and that way you guys can get an idea of some of the things that were available on the Game Gear. So, want to start off with, we've got Super Monaco GP. I think this is one of the better ones, at least that I own, as far as graphics and gameplay go. It's pretty smooth gameplay, and it's pretty fun. Next up, we've got Ren and Stimpy, Quest for the Shaven Yak. This is a pretty cool little game. It's funny and goofy, and it's fun. Let's see. Next up, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This is actually a really hard game. I did not expect this game to be nearly as difficult as it was, but I have a lot of trouble with it. Sonic moves really fast, and it's hard to control him on that little screen moving that quickly. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Let's see. Next up, we have Surf Ninjas. This game is a little bit more rare. I want to say this guy's worth like $8. The average Game Gear game is only worth a few bucks, so it's not easy to find ones that are worth a little bit more. But so this Surf Ninjas, the graphics in this game are horrendous, but the gameplay is actually decent. It's very slow, but the gameplay, like I said, it's okay, and it's not terribly difficult, so it's pretty easy to play. But the graphics are absolutely horrendous in this game. Let's see. Next up, we have a kind of a cult classic, especially on the Sega systems. We have Shinobi. This game is really difficult on the system. I was really disappointed, honestly, at how hard it was to control and to play this game. Maybe it's just because I'm not that good, but I mean, it's I found it to be very, very difficult. Probably, maybe a little bit unnecessarily difficult. And then finally on my list here, we have my most valuable. Shinobi, by the way, is worth about $10 or so. My most valuable, which is Fantasy Zone, made by Tectoy. This game's pretty cool, although once again it is very difficult. It's a lot of the Game Gear games have that classic 8-bit game style in the sense that they're very difficult. So this game's fun. It's cute. It's a lot of fun, but it is quite difficult. So there's a big learning curve with it. Alright, so now I'm going to do my best to try and give you guys a little bit of some gameplay footage, although I will pre-warn you that it, first of all, is very difficult to record on a Game Gear in general, and second of all, my Game Gear is one of the unfortunate ones that has a capacitor problem, so there's an issue with both the volume and the video, so it's even harder for me to show you guys, but I'm going to do my best. I have it plugged up to a little speaker so you can get better volume, and I'm going to do my best to angle the screen so that you guys can see it. As you can hear, the Game Gear has pretty darn good music. Alright guys, well that's it for this episode of Dr. Nostalgia Gamer. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.